Let's move on. 1 p.m. Eastern. Baltimore Ravens 6-3, 2-2 on the road at Chicago Bears 3-6, 2-2 at home at Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. 48 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 9 miles per hour. Another really nice weekend of weather. Weather has not come in to affect us at this point in the year. Baltimore, Chicago. I can't wait to talk about this game. Baltimore opening up at -6 right now. You can get Baltimore at the same -6, a -106. The total is at 46 right now, heavily juiced to the under, and it opened at 45. So it has gone up a point in Baltimore, Chicago. When we go over to the cash flow in this game, we have 1,790 tickets in. 59% of the tickets on Baltimore, 62% of the cash. Then 45% of tickets on the over and 87% of cash on the over. So that's why it's gone up a point. Ravens are on extra rest and preparations after an ugly 22-10 loss at Miami last Thursday. It's too bad they're playing the Ravens. I was saying that and thinking that all week. This Bears squad could easily be a bet-on team right now. The problem is the Ravens look so bad against Miami and have not quite as much rest and prep as the Bears coming off a bye, but rest and prep. Baltimore's streak of 51 regular season games with at least 14 points, second longest streak in the NFL history, came to an end. Lamar Jackson, 26 for 43, 238 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also ran 9 times for 39 yards. Devontae Freeman ran 10 times for 35 yards. Le'Veon Bell ran 3 times for 1 yard and has been released. Rashad Bateman caught 6 passes, I believe. I don't have the number, but for 80 yards. Mark Andrews also caught 6 passes for 63 yards, and Dutch Boy Fresh gave out the prop on Mark Andrews' receptions and receiving yards over. He also gave out the prop on Lamar Jackson passing yards over, which did creep over. The defense was getting pressure. They just weren't getting any help from their offense. They finished with 4 sacks and 13 quarterback hits. Quarterback Taven Young, who had been dealing with a knee injury, suffered a foot injury in the second half, but he's expected to be ready to go on Sunday. But the bad news keeps coming in on the injury front for the Ravens. Derek Wolfe is expected to miss the rest of the season. Defensive end Derek Wolfe, back hip, done. Defensive tackle Brandon Williams, running back Latavius Murray, guard Patrick McCarry, tight end Nick Boyle were inactive last week, listed as questionable this week. The Bears come in fresh off their bye week. They were last seen in a 29-27 loss at Pittsburgh. Justin Fields, 17-29 for 291 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They look like a different team, and I want to bet on them coming out of this bye week. Fields completed 6 passes of 20 yards or longer. In the second half of the game, he looked the best we've seen him in the NFL, 12 of 18 for 228 yards and a touchdown. He was just 5-11 for 63 yards in the first half. Cole Kmet caught 6 passes for 87 yards. David Montgomery ran 13 times for 63 yards. They are not last place in the NFL anymore in total offense. And Nagy said he's hoping Khalil Mack and safety Eddie Jackson will be able to return for this game. Safety Deion Bush and offensive tackle Tevin Jenkins returned to practice this week. Getting Tevin Jenkins back on the offensive line is a big deal. I think that the Bears are a bet-on team in the second half, and I wish they were playing a team that looked good last week. That's the only thing that's caught me up. But honestly, right now, this is the third game we've talked about. We have 7-point dog in Atlanta. We have a 7-point dog in Indianapolis. And now with Chicago, we have a 6-point dog. And I want all the dogs at this point. Bebsie, take it away here. What do you think of my feeling on the Bears being bet on? And what do you think of this spot, Ravens-Bears?
Oh, well, shit, Jimmy. It's hard not to agree on everything you just said. I wish that Baltimore just thumped Miami last week, because I'd be on this fading them right now. But an angry Harbaugh, an angry Ravens team coming off this break, not a bye like the Bears are, but still a little extra rest and frankly playing an inferior team. However, I agree with everything you said about Chicago. They're getting some reinforcements back, but also the last 2 games, Fields has started to look like the quarterback we saw at Ohio State. They're starting to look like Nagy is willing to entertain the idea that he has Justin Fields on the team. He's not still game planning for Andy Dalton and being like, here you go, Justin, do with what you can with this bullshit. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. I want to be on this Bears second half. This is just a really tough spot to bet against the Ravens. However, I'm going to say this. I'm going to stay off this. But I think this game comes down to a Justin Tucker field goal again.
Yeah, I agree that this is going to be tight, and I'm gonna go ahead and bet the Bears here. This will be the first definite bet I'm gonna make. I mean, right now we have 59% of the ticket, 62% of the cash on the Ravens, and look, the Ravens are a better team than what we saw in Miami. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Birdie said I bet the Ravens -6. You know, the fact that the Ravens were so bad last week might be enough to keep me off this game, unfortunately. Seeing Birdie on the Ravens -6, I feel like we're going to see a different quarterback now after Justin Fields' game against Pittsburgh.
I think so too. I really think, man, as a Niners fan and a Buckeyes fan, I wanted them to grab Justin Fields. I'm very happy with Trey Lance. I think he's going to be a stud. However, I think Justin Fields is going to be absolutely dominant, and I think that was the last two games. Like you've seen him settle into the NFL in spite of his idiot coach. I like to see that Connor, Mac, and I agree with that. But yeah, I like Fields going forward.
I'd like to hear, Birdie, if you could take a second and just let us know. Great to see Trey Franklin rolling with us right now. Birdie, if you could just give us a second as to why you are backing the Ravens here. And then let's just briefly talk about this total and then move on, because I guess I can sit here and hum and haw about this a little more. Although there are some dicey books that we don't talk about that have moved to 5.5, which is surprising. Do you agree with this total moving from 45 to 46?
To be honest with you, I think everyone thinks probably the under here, but I could see both of these offenses blowing it up. The Chicago Bears unexpectedly, and the Ravens having a poor offensive output against Miami, which, let's face it, Miami has a better defense than the Bears, but I can see them also bouncing back. So, yes, I agree with this market move. Free play, I take the over.
And Birdie did answer why he said this. I'm going to pop this up right now. He said Ravens looked so bad and had to go. Oh, sorry, that's Trusty, but saying, look in the mirror. Lamar just had his jersey retired. They bounced back here. Birdie says smash spot for the Ravens. So much being made about how Miami defended last week. Bears do not have the quality corners that the Dolphins do. More rest. Harbaugh very angry. Ravens smash. They've been incredible with how they've handled injuries, but I legitimately don't think they're that good of a football team. They are the best team in their division, sure, but I don't know how good they are. Birdie says, I will also say all we saw was dogs cover last week. That is the last thing we all saw. I'm sticking to what is working, betting against what we last saw. All right.
It feels that way, Slatsy.
Come on. It's his team. Okay, we're going to move on here. I guess I'm going to take more time with this Bears spot, but I can only see them getting healthier. Dennis Garcia says Chicago off a bye. A few weeks ago, Baltimore got rooted by Cincinnati. 2 weeks later, Harbaugh off a bye, off a loss, going to kill Minnie. That never materialized. Miami got blown out. Perhaps Baltimore is overrated. That's what I'm saying. I just don't think they're that good. I do not think they're that good. David Cal says Ravens win, Bears cover. I want the Bears, but I just hate that the Ravens are coming off such an ugly game.